welcome to the Super Sentai Brothers. This is episode 41 of License to Carranger, the internet's best and only podcast dedicated to Gekisou Sentai Carranger. Every week we watch an episode of the show, and we share our thoughts with you, the listener. My name is Matt J. With me, as always, is my co-host and brother Dave. Dave, how you doing today?
Oh, pretty well. Had a really nice day today. Had the day off. Played in the snow a bunch with my kids.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we are recording this is Martin Luther King Day. I also had today off, which is a nice chill day to have like an off day recording.
Anyways, yeah, it's a delight. It's a delight. I really like having a Monday off. Having a Monday off is almost better than having a Friday off.
Oh, way better than having your Friday off.
You know?
Because a weekend always feels like, well, we're coming up on the weekend. I've earned that. So when there's a Friday off, it feels like, well, the weekend that I was already anticipating is just getting here earlier. Mm-hmm. But when a Monday is off, then it's like, well, the weekend is over, and then I have a day off, and that's a real treat.
Yeah, it is. It's a real bonus.
You know what else is a real treat, Dave? Episode 41 of Gekisou Sentai Carranger. It is called The Reckless...
It?
Well...
Is it a treat, Matt?
Hey, Dave, there were only so many ways to transition into telling them what the episode was. I mean, listen, you know what is a treat is talking to you about it, regardless of how I feel about the episode. The episode is called The Reckless Dash Emperor's Frightful Fuel Check. Of course, it was written by Naruhisa Arakawa. Its original air date was December 6th, 1996. And if you would like to watch along with us, you can do so either on the DVDs or at shoutfactory.tv. You know what else is a real treat, Dave? Is that every week, as always, shining in the heavens, there are 5 stars. Would you like to hear what our first star of the week is?
I sure would, Matt.
Dave, you know on occasion I like to order a meal from a meal delivery service.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's the best.
Ordering a meal from a meal delivery service is wonderful. Usually. So, this past Thursday, I was at work, and we had made plans. Me and a couple of people on my team ahead of time. We were like, you know what? We're all going to get together, and we are going to order Thai food on Thursday for lunch. It's going to be great. So, Thursday rolls around. I get everybody's order. As soon as the place is available to order from, I punch it in.
You're on it.
I'm on it. Because I'm like,
right.
Not only am I ordering, if I'm ordering for myself, I can be lazy about it, but I'm ordering lunch for me and 4 other people.
Right, you are spearheading this Thai food effort.
Right.
You know, you're just sitting here hitting refresh on Uber. It pops up. You're in gear.
So, I order the food. I punch it all in. It says, okay, like the restaurant is making the food. It'll be there in X amount of time.
Great. Gripped and ripped.
And then, you know, you can see on those apps when somebody picks up the order, like when someone agrees to do the order, you can see the car drive to the restaurant, and then you can see the car drive from the restaurant to wherever you are to give you the food.
Sure can.
Theoretically. Now, what happened to me on Thursday is that I saw the car drive to the restaurant, and then I saw the car stay at the restaurant. Now, I'm like, listen, I ordered it as soon as it could possibly be ordered. I'm sure they have people in the restaurant. We're not necessarily their first priority. So I let it simmer for a while. Well, after a while, the car still had not moved from the restaurant parking lot. So I call the restaurant, right?
Right.
And I say, hey, no rush, but...
I mean, sort of a rush, though. I am on lunch break here.
I was going to eat at my desk anyway. So I say, hey, I don't want to rush you, but I did order some food. Can you give me an update maybe on when that food is going to be ready? Because it looks like the driver is waiting for the food to be ready. And they tell me, oh, the food's been ready. In fact, the driver has already picked it up. At which point I look at my app and I see that the car is still in the parking lot of the restaurant. And I say,
Weird.
Is what I say. And I'm like, well... It doesn't appear that that's the case. And they say, oh, well, we actually have the phone number of the driver. Because that goes into the system. Would you like it? And I say, thank you. That would be lovely. I can just do a little cross-checking, do a little research. So I call that phone number and I say, hi, driver's name. Waiting on a Thai order. Can you give me an update? I'm hearing that the food's been picked up, but I understand things happen. Could you let me know what's happening? And they say to me, well, the restaurant told me that it was going to be a little while until the food was ready, so I've been in the parking lot waiting for it. Well, I say, could you please stop in and check with them? Because I'm feeling like I'm sort of in the middle here, and you're the only two people who are in the same geographical zone.
Right. Yeah, like I cannot obviously like dip in and sort this out in person.
So I say, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you stop in? And I'm thinking, listen, I'm asking them to get out of their car. I'm going to add a little more to the tip, just to make sure.
Well, he would have had to get out of the car to get the food anyways.
Well, sure. But this is becoming an ordeal. So they say, hey, when this food becomes available, is this a number that I can reach you at to let you know that everything's cool? I say yes. I wait another 20 minutes. I have not heard back from them. So I call them back. And my phone goes immediately to voicemail, which means that they asked me if that was the number I could reach them at so that they could punch that number in and say, please do not let me see any more phone calls from this number. So I called the restaurant back and I say, hey, I'm terribly sorry to be a bother. It seems like there's an issue with this food order. Now, I could keep going back and forth with this. There's a lot of back and forth phone calls between me, the restaurant, trying to get a hold of the driver, and also Uber Eats. Here, Dave, is eventually what ended up happening as I discovered it. The driver, upon arriving at Uber Eats, or arriving at the restaurant, parked their car in the parking lot, got out, went into the restaurant, picked up the food, went back out to their car. However, Dave, there was... I thought there were already enough parties involved in this between me, the driver, and the restaurant. Turns out there was a rogue fourth party involved.
What?
The rogue fourth party, Dave, was a repo man because the driver had not been making their car payments. So
You've got to be kidding me.
So a tow truck had been tailing them the entire time. And when they stopped their car in the parking lot to run in and get the food, the tow truck pulled up and blocked their car from being able to leave. And so they did go in and get the food. They did go back out to their car, but then that car did not move for a very long time because it was busy being jacked up on a tow truck.
But the dude did not tell you this.
Oh, no. The driver did not make this known to me. So eventually...
That is wild.
So, and the only reason I know any of this is because I was calling back and forth. So the owner of the restaurant, had my phone number and called me and said, hey, just so you know, I've gotten some new information. And this is what's happened. And he was actually...
Holy cats!
Yeah, the owner of the restaurant was super cool about it. He was like, listen, if you want to reorder, I can drive it to you myself. But by that point, I'd already reordered it on Uber Eats, which I think would mess it up if somebody else tried to drive it to me. Anyway, long story short, I did get the food eventually. I ordered the food at 11:43. The food showed up at 2:45.
Oh, wow. My only weird Uber Eats story is one time I ordered from Zoma, which is this Ethiopian place that I order from.
Hey, longtime listeners are well aware.
Yeah. So I had ordered Uber Eats just because we were real busy. And then the food showed that it was picked up and then the order was canceled. After the food got picked up, the driver canceled the order and was like, oh, I tried to drop the food off, but the person wasn't there. And I was like, well, I was definitely here. Dude just took my food.
I feel like that sort of thing has to happen more than people are talking about. Or maybe some people are talking about it and I'm just not in those conversations.
So yeah, dude just absconded with my dinner. And then so I just had to reorder. And then the guy from the restaurant called me and was like, hey, what happened? I was like, oh, that dude just took off with my food. I don't know what's going on. I didn't have to pay for it twice or anything.
Sure.
Uber covered that part of it. Now, I will say, yesterday, we had a very, very busy day, and time was kind of getting away from us, and so we said, it's just we'll just order Zoma, and so Beth put in the order, and I went to pick it up, but she said when she put in the order, the owner of the restaurant said, "Oh, are you ordering for Dave?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "Tell him it'll be ready in 20 minutes. So now I need to ask this dude his name, because he knows my name.
Sure.
So, like, if he says, like, "Oh, hi, Dave," I need to be able to respond with, like, his name. But, like, now I'm having, like, a moment of, like, real, like, white person American dread that he's gonna know my name, and, like, he is an immigrant from Ethiopia, and so I am just desperately hoping his name is going to be, like, pronounceable in such a way for me that, like, I'm not going to be embarrassed that I'm going to screw it up. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be cool. Be like, "Oh, like, that's your name. I want to have respect for you and say it properly." I just, like, really hope that it's a name that I can say.
Right, because you can't say, "Yes, hello, this is Dave. Is this restaurateur? It's so nice to talk to you, restaurateur."
So now, Matt, after this whole ordeal, I do have to ask, in true J Brothers fashion, I do need to know what you actually had ordered, and B, was it good?
Oh, Dave, I'm happy to tell you, I ordered something called Drunken Noodles.
Oh, Drunken Noodles are great.
I ordered it extra spicy with chicken.
Yep.
It is spicy enough. It's like right on the top of my spice tolerance, where like by the time I finish eating it, I have a little bit of like sweat on the back of my neck.
Yeah, that's where you want to be, I feel like.
Like I never stop eating it, but I do feel the effects when it's done.
Yes. Yeah, that's right in the pocket, I feel like.
Not only was it good, okay, this is a difficult thing to say. It may have been better than it's ever been before, or maybe I was so hungry by the time it showed up that I was like leading into it.
Hunger is the greatest sauce, as they say.
Well, that's what I hear.
Green curry with pork is my go-to.
Oh, that's a good one. Hunger is the greatest sauce. Is that in that Escoffier book? You got a page on hunger?
It might be. I don't know what stock you would start that with. No,
you don't. That's the thing. You just don't.
I think that's from Howard. I think I may have read that in like Howard Pyle's Robin Hood.
Well, I could go pull it off the shelf, but I'd spend a while flipping through it.
Yeah, that seems like not great audio.
Instead of that, Dave, why don't you tell me what our second star of the week is?
So our second star of the week, Matt, is, as I mentioned, I spent the day hanging out with the kids, which was a ton of fun, and we went and we played in the snow. I took all the snow from one part of the driveway and like piled it up and like tamped it down and made a big slide.
Nice,
it's not a big slide, but there are only 3.
Sure.
So that was cool. Now there was a spot I was like sort of tossing some snow, and Sugar Bean sort of like walked right into the path of a flying shovel of snow and just got like a shovel full of it was loose powdery snow, but just like a shovel full of snow launched directly into her face.
I feel like a 3-year-old could take that hood in one of two ways. Either it's going to ruin their day, or that's the best part of their afternoon.
No, she was not stoked about it, but she did recover, which was good. You know, but it got me thinking, we are having, as we've mentioned a couple of times, an unseasonably mild winter this year.
So far, at least, yeah.
And I just, dude, I feel like we are going to go the whole year, and there's not going to be any snow days. And that's a crime. That's a criminal crime against children and teachers.
I'll tell you, I don't feel as bad for teachers because, like, I got to go to work,
Right, yeah, no, like, it's not as bad, but, like, it's my job to go.
Right, but for children, you need to have that, like, having that weird release valve in the middle of winter where just one day you have this weird, perfect holiday on a Thursday. Yeah. Taking that away from children, that is a crime.
It's awful. Like, if a winter goes by and there's not even a single snow day, it's just, like, you deserve one. Like, you're supposed to have at least one snow day, minimum. And, like, and I know they don't, this is not a thing that anybody does, but they should, if there's no snow day, like, you should just have one on principle. If it's, like, mid-February and there haven't been any snow days. Just like one day, like the lightest dusting of snow, you just call it. And you just say, like, you know what? Take the day off. Today is the snow day.
Well, Dave, I feel like this is related to my theory on wedding presents, which I feel like I've brought up on the show before.
If you have, I can't recall it off the top of my head, Matt.
Okay, well, listeners, if I've said this before, I apologize for repeating myself, but here is my theory on wedding presents, is that if you get to the age of either 30 or 35 and you have never been married.
Yes, we have talked about this.
Yeah, you should be able to have a single person wedding registry because everybody else has already gotten a new toaster from their wedding registry and you were still dealing with the one that you got right out of college.
Now, I will say, Matt, I fully support you in that idea. However, you've only got one, you sort of only got one cash in on that.
That's true. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? So, if you were to later decide that you were going to get married, that you would just have to tell everybody, well, it's okay.
Yeah,
we're fine.
Yeah. No, that definitely has to be part of it. You were allowed to cash in on that once. And if you feel like you're never going to get married, you can cash in. And then if it ever does happen, you just add that to your invitations.
It's on your invitations. Right.
Please come, but I already have a toaster.
Right. So, Matt, that's I can kind of feel it coming. I feel like we're not going to get any snow days this year, and it's a real because there's 5 days. This in our district, there's 5 days built into the school year, and if it was hey, if there's no snow days, you get out of school a week early, then it would be fine, right? Because then you would say oh, it's cool. We're gonna we'll power through maybe, and then there's a reward at the end. As is. There's no payoff for not having a snow day. You just have more stuff.
I mean, the payoff, Dave, is education.
Well, I mean, okay, yeah, Matt. I know. That's the lie that I tell to the kids, too. But it's not... It's a lie. It's a lie, Matt. It's a lie that adults tell children. It's not true. Education is very important. What is our third star of the week?
Dave, our third star of the week is actually speaking of getting presents for a thing, a thing event in your life. I went to a baby shower over the weekend.
Oh, okay. I was very curious how are you going to... Because I'm looking at the list of stuff, and I was real curious as to how you were going to transition from presents into what's written down. But a baby shower is a good segue. Go ahead.
What is written down are the words hedgehog balloon, which I will get to.
Well, that's... Yeah, hence my confusion, Matt. Wait, who's having a kid?
Just a friend of mine.
Okay, right.
It was actually cool. It is a friend of mine who's just a friend from around town. And so, a bunch of people got together to, organize a baby shower for her. And it was nice because I was there for, the blowing up balloons and, setting up the decorations part of the shower. And so, seeing all of the people who I do not regularly see in, responsible party planning mode was a really nice day.
Nice. Oh, hey, total side note. Did you hear... I don't know that you would have, that our good friend Molly O'Brien got engaged.
I did hear that. Yeah, good for her.
Yeah, I know. She's marrying an Australian sheep farmer. It's a match made in heaven.
That might sound like a joke, but if you know that person, then you know that it is not a joke.
Yeah, no, sorry. That is 100% not a joke. It really is. This is perfect. It's amazing. Anyways, Matt, so I burn to know how we're going to get from where we're at to hedgehog balloon.
Well, okay, so, it was a shower, so there were a lot of balloons. I actually spent a good while the night before making balloon animals to bring in.
I was really hoping that's where we were going with this.
Well, the hedgehog balloon was not a balloon that I had twisted. I do not know how to twist a hedgehog balloon. I feel like it would involve a lot of balloons.
Yeah, now, okay, you keep talking.
Because I did do an octopus balloon, and that takes 4 balloons, and that's only 8 legs. That's not a back full of spines. But there
octopus, surprisingly hard to do. I'm just always afraid I'm going to pop a bunch of balloons.
Worked out really nice, actually. You gotta pre-twist each balloon, and then you retwist the group of them together. That's the trick.
Matt, I am looking at a balloon twisted hedgehog, and it is downright adorable.
I believe you. So here, this was not a balloon twisted hedgehog. This was like a mylar balloon hedgehog, right?
Okay, got it.
And it was filled with helium. But we were filling the balloons while we were there. We didn't go and get helium-filled balloons. Because you can, like, get a tank of helium for these sort of parties. And there was this one hedgehog balloon, Dave, that was filled to, like, the exact perfect amount of helium where it wasn't going up and it wasn't going down. It was just
sort of in stasis.
It was just in stasis, floating in the middle of the room. Now,
love it.
Here's what that means for a party that goes a number of hours.
Oh my gosh, there's a sea turtle. It's incredible. Sorry, I've just got some pictures up of balloon twisted animals.
Is that the hedgehog balloon, because it didn't float up to the ceiling or down to the floor, it was just in the middle. The hedgehog balloon essentially became another guest at the party because you never knew where it was going to be. There was a point in the course of the evening where we just didn't know where it was, or the morning rather. Like we knew that it was there. We knew that we would have seen it if it had like gone out a door somewhere. But for some reason, it just disappeared for like an hour or two until someone went into the bathroom and realized like, oh, the hedgehog balloon has been in the bathroom the whole time. But you would just like turn around and this hedgehog balloon would be right behind you, like staring you in the eyes. Or you'd like go behind like the little bar area to grab a new glass and like it would just be floating there as though it were tending bar. It was amazing. Like you almost never see a balloon that is floating just on that level. And I'll tell you, it was a real treat. And of course, Dave, speaking of treats, would you please tell me what our 4th star of the week is?
So our 4th star of the week, Matt, is this is an old, guys, you know how we do it here. We love to review games that came out like at least anytime between 6 months and maybe like 3 years ago.
Sure.
So
what do you got for me?
Here's what I got for you, Matt. It's a game called Frost Rune, and I just found it on mobile, and it's weird to me because it's a free game, and it's very good, and there's no ads, and there's nothing that you have to pay for, and there's no version of there's not even like a, hey, give us a few dollars if you would like to, which I would give these people money. Like, there's no monetary anything, and it's just weirding me out. Anyways, this game Frost Rune, and it's like an old King's Quest / Quest for Glory / whatever.
I love those games.
It's like an old style Sierra point and click, like find stuff and do puzzles adventure game set in like pre-medieval Norway.
Okay.
And it's gorgeous. It's very cool gameplay. There's like a full soundtrack. It's fully voiced. Like, this is an impressive game. I don't know. I can't figure out how they're planning on making money on it unless it's just like somebody's best resume. But anyways, it came out in like 2017.
Maybe Frost Rune 2 is going to be like a $60 game on the Xbox.
I don't know, but
like, that's
based
the
on
only way
Frost
I can
Rune
figure
1,
it out.
I would seriously consider it. Anyways, yeah, it is just like you're just like wandering around, pointing and clicking and finding stuff and doing puzzles, and you can like flip into the spirit realm. So you're sort of like having to like constantly flip back and forth and like looking at things in like the normal world and in the spirit realm. And there's places that you can only go if you're in the spirit realm and only go if you're in the physical realm. It's rad. It's just like, I don't have jokes about it. I'm sorry. Just like, if you haven't found this game and you dig this sort of, that sort of like point and click and find stuff kind of game, let me recommend to you very strongly this game Frost Rune.
Dave,
I've only been playing it for like 2 hours,
think
but it's great.
I think that the trick is that, I don't know, you're on Android and you're on Android rather. You got one of those Andrew phones.
Yeah.
I'm on iOS, and the Frost Rune by Snow Cannon Games.
That's the one.
Is definitely $5 on the iOS App Store.
Okay. Well, it's $5. It's free. Matt, it's definitely worth $5.
Okay. Dude, I loved... Okay, is it more of a Sierra game, or is it all a LucasArts game? Is it like... Does it have a whiff of a Sam & Max Hit the Road or a Full Throttle?
In the idea that, like, it is, like, slightly comedic?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not in the slightest. Like, this is a full-on... Even the Sierra games were funny. No, this is sort of like Bleak and Norse.
Okay.
But the gameplay is very similar.
Man, I'm still sad that was there ever a sequel to Full Throttle? I feel like there wasn't for 20 years, and then I heard there was going to be, and I don't know if it ever actually happened.
I don't think it ever happened. I think there was a lot of talk about it. A lot of flim-flam, never actually happened.
Anyway, well, they probably couldn't get the Gone Jackals to come back and do the soundtrack again. I don't know why that is in my brain that they did the soundtrack for that game, but they did. It was the Gone Jackals.
Well, that's a great... Well... Nope, never came out.
Never came out? Okay.
Yeah.
Well. There were some follow-ups to Sam & Max that I never played. Anyway, Dave, what is our fifth and final Star of the Week?
Well, our fifth and final Star of the Week, Matt, is like, frankly, I haven't been doing a whole lot, but what I have been doing is thinking a lot about the Dungeons and Dragons game that we're going to play, so we're going to talk about that.
That's very exciting, because I also have not been doing a lot, and the only thing I've been doing is playing Hollow Knight, which is not a thing that I can really talk about, because it's just a game I've been playing and not an idea I've been having.
Yeah, so I'm frankly probably investing way too much mental energy in something that we just practically are only going to have a chance to play a handful of times, although I have hopes. The twins are sleeping a little bit better now, so maybe we can get some online something going on between the four of us.
Well, I mean, as someone who's going to be playing the game, I'm very pleased that you're putting this much time into it.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be very good. So we've decided on a nautical sort of theme.
Which is great. I'm almost definitely going to play a swashbuckler.
Yeah, swashbucklers are real excellent. So I am totally willing. So right now, it is, the world is called Farrige, Farrige, and it's called that because I just looked up the Gaelic word for, like, the sea, and that's what it is. But I don't love that. It's kind of a placeholder. So if anybody's got any better ideas, let me know. Anyways, so it's on like a big archipelago, is what we got so far. But the archipelagos are like super duper heavily forested and very, very dangerous. So kind of everybody lives on the coast, which is why, and it's also like real mountainous. So that's kind of why everybody like lives by the ocean, because that's like where it's sort of easiest to live. I'm thinking like it's kind of like a mid 1800s sort of feel, but like with fantasy, kind of Eberron-y, if you're familiar with that sort of element of the D&D world.
You know I love an Eberron.
Yeah, so here is...
Are you telling me I could play a Warforged swashbuckler?
Well, I'm not going to do Warforged. I do have a list of allowable races. Right now, I'm thinking humans, high elves, half-elves, halflings, half-orcs, tritons.
All the halves.
All the halves. Tritons, which are like sea elves, kind of. Turtles, which are like cool turtle people. Grungs, which are frog people. Then water ganassi and air ganassi. And then I think I'm maybe going to pull in Simic hybrids from the Guildmaster's Guide to Ravnica, although the fluff for them will be different. Anyways, that's what I've got. I'm stoked to play this game. I'm also stoked, Matt, to talk about this episode of Super Sentai.
Yes, episode 41, as previously mentioned, the Reckless Dash Emperor's Frightful Fuel Check. We are going to take a break. We're going to watch the show, and we will be right back. All right, welcome back. We have just watched episode 41 of Gekisou Sentai Carranger. And Dave, now that we're in... I feel like we've talked about this the last few weeks, but like now that we're past episode 40, like we're in episode 41 and there are 48 episodes of this show, and the knowledge that we always do the last two episodes is like a giant-sized special issue. it really does feel like we are circling around the end of this show, doesn't it?
Dude, you would think that we would be used to this kind of by now. Because, like, this is very much how Sentai sort of works. Like, there's, like, a big spike in episodes, like, 1 through, like, 4, where, like, all sorts of stuff is happening. And then it's sort of, like, kind of, like, dawdles along until mid-season, and then there's, like, a big turn mid-season, and then it dawdles along for another, like, couple episodes, and then the last, like, 10 episodes, every single one of them is like hot fire. Like they just ramp it up right at the end. And again, you would think that I would be like used to the ebb and flow of this by now, but I'm not. Like it does always sort of catch me off guard. Like, oh, right, this is episode 41. There's only a handful of episodes left. Like things are getting crazy, and they definitely are.
Okay, so let's just hop into the craziness. We start on Barabarian in the BB Saloon, and all our faves are hanging out. You got President Dynamo, you got Zelmoda, you got Inventor Grotch, of course you have the Beauties on that. And actually, we're going to have another old favorite coming in a little later in the episode.
Yeah, there is. Matt, there's a side blurb I just want to talk about real briefly, because they've all got drinks, and President Dynamo, he's got like a big water bottle, but the water bottle has like a huge straw on it.
Well, it has to, because otherwise his weird like monster rubber head couldn't get at it.
No, I just thought it was fantastic attention to detail because like this dude's anatomy would not support, like he can't reach his face.
Right, the prop designers are like, listen, we are not going to pretend that this is a very agile person who is being represented by unyielding foam and rubber. We're just gonna let you know that that's what this guy's life is actually like, and all of his drinks have to have a comically large straw.
Yeah, like this dude orders, like he needs like the made for TV, like, hey, like this is for you if you have a problem. Like it's just, it's a great touch. So anyways, so they're all hanging out, and like this, like an energy comet like drops into the BB Saloon, and then it solidifies, and it's a drawing. We've seen this drawing before. It is the completed like concept art, I guess, for Evil Emperor Exhaust's intergalactic like Autobahn of doom.
Right.
His evil Autobahn, space Autobahn thing.
And this painting that appears is on an easel being displayed in the middle of the bar, which I think is a nice touch. It's not just like an image that is floating. It is a physical painting on an easel that shows up in the middle. And everyone looks over and they're like, what is happening here? Why are we looking at this? And the Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust's giant face booms in through the window like, this is a picture of my completed highway, and it will be completed by and for the Bozoak. And everyone kind of looks at each other like, well, I think I like how that sounds.
That's us.
But nice. I don't actually know what this means. He's like, no, listen, I'm making a highway. Here's a picture of it. When it is completed, if you have done all that I ask you to complete this highway, you all will have free lifetime passes to ride these roads however you want to. So, like, just continue to, like, do my bidding, and then eventually the galaxy will be full of roadways for you to, like, spread your driving chaos.
Right, which is awesome. This is exactly what the Bozoak want to hear. This is a perfect sell for them. And he says, but you have to destroy the Rangers. Like, I'm going to tell you how to do it, but, like, I do need you to do my dirty work for me.
Yeah. I wonder if we're ever going to find out why.
Not even, like, dirty work,
but like,
I guess. Because, like, he's definitely evil. Like, you just need to do the grunt labor of this.
Right. Do you think we're going to find out why he needs them to do this for him? Or is he just, like, a real hands-off guy?
I would be deeply surprised if they delved into that level of story. But who knows? I've been surprised in the past. So we go from there down to Earth. We see it's a Christmas tree, and everybody is excited that it is Christmas time. This is something interesting that I just found out. That, of course, like in Japan, like they definitely celebrate Christmas, like they definitely do a thing.
Sure.
But you do not get, and I happen to know this because our sister lives in Japan and she did not get time off for Christmas. So, like, it's definitely a holiday in the sense of, like, it's a big fun thing that they do, but, like, they do not, you don't get, like, time off from school for it. I think it's sort of like Cinco de Mayo or something in America. Like, we know what it is, and we don't celebrate it right.
But we do something.
But we do something for it. So anyways, there's a Christmas tree.
Yeah, they're all decorating this tree, and it's not a tree that's in the garage. It's just sort of like
in
a town
it's like a mall tree, yeah.
But for some reason, like Natsumi is putting an ornament on it. I think
maybe it's just like a public, you just get to like walk by, put on an ornament. It's festive.
Actually, a public tree that you can just walk by and put on your own ornament that you're not planning to collect later. That would be very nice.
I would be super into that. So Minoru, all of a sudden, he pulls a full Minoru, and
he shouts out in horror. And as it turns out, it's not because he's thinking about the events of the previous episode.
Right. And everybody's just like, "Whoa, my Joe, what's going on?" He's like, "I have not bought my parents their Christmas presents yet." And everyone's like, wah, wah, Minoru.
Although,
like that's not
all
that
of
big
them
of a deal.
also say, like, yeah, we also have not. We're all grossly irresponsible.
Well, except Yuko. She says, I totally bought my parents presents. And they're like, you? That's weird, because you don't seem like that devoted of a child. And she's like, oh, it's only because I am expecting presents from my from my parents.
Right.
And so...
Yeah, I'm going to buy them something so they'll get me a huge present in return.
Yeah.
And then, as she's talking about a huge present being delivered to her, a huge present box lands like 30 feet away from them. And they walk over, and it says, like, to the Carrangers, Merry Christmas. And they all look at each other like, well... And there's a bunch of other people standing around. They're like, well, this is definitely weird. This is a Bozoke thing, right? Yes, 100% this is a Bozoke thing.
Yeah.
The box opens up, and inside is a monster. And
it's our old buddy. It's our old buddy, that giant cockroach from the saloon.
Goki-chan.
But he's dressed up now, and he's got sort of like a Christmassy outfit, but he also has like a tank on his chest, and attached to the tank is like a big set of like kissy lips that are over his mouth.
Yeah, they're like very obviously not his face. And he pops out, and everyone looks at each other like, oh, what is happening? Like, what?
Like, just, this is weird
and
and
they
dumb.
all look at each other like, this guy again? We have definitely seen this guy before. This is not the first time around. And one of them does say, like, well, his lips are bigger this time. Maybe this is, I don't know. Maybe this is worth our time.
So Kyosuke pulls the hey, look over there, and he looks over, and then he looks back, and they're gone, and then they attack him in Ranger form. And this is a very weird fight. It's sort of a non-fight. I shouldn't say that. It is definitely a fight, but the fight only exists to highlight what happens at the end. So here's the deal. Basically what these lips do is they are like energy sucking lips. And if he can kiss you, he can like suck your energy away.
Yeah.
So he managed, over the course of the fight, Gaki-chan manages to kiss all the Rangers. All of their energy is drained. It looks like things are about to go down, badly for them. Dapu, of course, is watching on his omniscient monitors. And he says, oh no, Rangers, sort of stay with it. And he holds up the car magic amulet. And then as he does that, the Rangers are like revived. And then they beat the snot out of Gaki-chan, and the fight is over.
Yeah.
The important part here is this thing that has happened with Dapu. That Dapu is... We are just reminded that Dapu is the sort of like conduit through which car magic flows to the Rangers.
Yeah, so Gaki-chan rolls back up to the BB Saloon, and he's being like roundly scolded for not beating the Car Rangers. And everyone's like, oh, Inventor Grotch is like, I even gave you new kissing lips and you still couldn't beat them. And like, Grotch, come on, man. Like, you knew that wasn't going to work. And everyone is like, mocking him for not having beaten the Carrangers. And the Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust is like, no, check this out. I've been watching the game tape. Like, I saw all this go down. Even though he lost, here's what happened. He did succeed in sucking their energy out. The only reason he lost is because there's some other thing somewhere else that's channeling more car magic energy to them. At which point, President Dynamo and Zelmodo are like, oh, that's got to be Dapu, the one survivor from the planet Hazard. He's like their conduit to car magic. That's what's going on. Now, apparently, the Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust has no idea that Dapu exists, nor does he know that anyone has managed to survive the destruction of the planet Hazard. Because when he hears this, he has a little bit of a freak out.
Yeah, he flips right out. And, I don't know why. My only guess is that, maybe the fact that Dapu looks like Yoda is a little bit more intentional than I had originally assumed. And that, Hazardians do, in fact, have some, powerful, inherent connection to car magic.
Yeah.
That would make the fact that one of them survived, really significant in Exhaust's plans.
So he has this freak out, and he's like, listen, okay, that's bad. But now that I know that guy exists, here's the deal. If we can capture this Dapu character, then it's going to be so easier for us to defeat the Carrangers.
Yes.
They really rely on him, maybe even more than they know that they do.
Spoiler alert, he is super correct.
Yes.
We get a quick shot of Zonette, and she's kind of looking on, and she's clearly pondering. She's got that diary that she started with her, and she kind of glances down at that.
The romance exchange diary that she and Kyosuke both have one, and they're supposed to fill them out and trade them,
yes.
to increase their courtship or something.
Right. So she's kind of looking down at it. We're not really sure what's going on, but she clearly has something going on. So, back to Pegasus Motors. The Rangers all walk in. They've done their shopping. They're very excited. Dapu sort of pops around the corner. He's got a little book with him, and we can't quite see what it is yet. And he's like, hey, guys, hooray, everybody. What's your plan for Christmas? And they're all like, we're going to go spend Christmas with our living families. It's going to be the best.
Right.
Dapu, of course, is super bummed out about this.
And they're like, no, this is our annual tradition. Pegasus Motors always closes down for Christmas, and we all get to go see our families. It's going to be super good. Sorry that you have to, stay at the garage by yourself over Christmas. And on one hand, that sounds super callous, but
I don't think do they even say that?
They do very briefly. But, the thing is, Dapu's a space alien. Christmas is an Earth holiday. It's very, when I was surprised that Dapu cared about Christmas at all, frankly. Because, he is from the planet Hazard, where, they probably have different holidays.
Yeah, well, it turns out that either he has been on Earth long enough that he is into Christmas, or they just have Christmas on the planet Hazard because he's very definitely into Christmas. And the fact that the Rangers are going to leave their orphan child boss alone for Christmas strikes a real nerve. And he's like, wait, no, that's not acceptable. Superheroes have to spend Christmas together.
That's a rule. It's the rule. And everyone's like, I have never heard that rule. I feel like you might be making this up because, again, I don't think they know that Dapu is 12. Because and he gets really upset and he's like, no, you're all being selfish. How dare you act this way? When he is hiding, what we find out is a homemade, coloring book plan thing that is full of pictures that he has crudely drawn in crayon of all of them.
They're not that crude. Like, they're pretty decent drawings. Dude, he has, like, stickers of the Rangers on the front. Like, he has made a full-on, like, kids' Christmas wish plan book.
Yeah.
I'm furious that the Rangers, that this show is now making me care about Dapu in this way. First of all, I'm mad that they're making me care about Dapu. Second, I'm mad that they're making me have, like, real intense dad feelings about this. Like, that's not what I'm here for.
Oh, yeah, because I do feel bad for Dapu a bit, but not, like, in a real way.
Yeah. So we go, they're all just like, Dapu, like, come on, man, like, be cool. Like, we want to see our families. He sort of, like, storms off, and then we see him in the sort of, like, secret garage part, and he's, like, drawing big X's over his plans. And then he gets this, like, it's this really, like, kind of gut-wrenching. He's like, my mom is dead. Of course, I also would like to celebrate Christmas with my family. He's sort of talking to the void here. But my mom's dead. And my dad was, like, off on a trip.
What?
But he's obviously dead, too. And then we see, like, a flashback of the entire planet exploding. So, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Then...
Suddenly... we cut away to a very different place.
Very, very different place.
We're on the surface of some planet. I'm going to say Saturn, because that's the one they keep referencing.
Just on the bare surface of this pockmarked planet.
And
there's a barber there. Just kind of chilling out in open space.
An alien barber, of course.
An alien barber, of course. And who's getting a cut?
Well,
but VRV Master.
I was going to say, who do we know that has it as part of his regular routine to go to the barber? Of course, it's the VRV Master.
I had forgotten that was part of his routine. But yes, it's VRV Master. So, obviously, VRV Master is Dapu's dad who survived.
Well, okay. That is not being told to us yet, but it is...
Yeah, okay, no, so we do not see the face or anything.
Here's what happens.
But
VRV Master's helmet is not on, but we don't see his head. And as we cut away from Dapu talking about his dad, who he assumes is dead, the VRV Master sneezes. And the barber is like, oh, are you okay? And VRV Master says, oh, yes, of course I'm fine. It must just be that someone in the galaxy is talking about me right now, and that has, like, triggered my sneeze. So, yeah, I mean, listen, obviously this is his dad. I think this is maybe the first we have gotten this inclination. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah. Because it was like, as soon as we saw this and it was like, oh, this is very obviously Dapu's dad, I was like, oh, dang, okay.
And he puts his helmet back on. And again, we still don't see his head, and we don't see that his head is Dapu-shaped. Although, like, I mean, come on, right? But he puts his helmet back on. He's like, yes, thank you. Here's the tip. I'll be on my way.
Yeah. So this does, like, it suddenly makes VRV Master make a whole lot of sense. Like, why does he have car magic robots? Well, because he's the other last surviving Hazardian.
Right. Like, Dapu showed up with a big robot. VRV Master, who is a big Dapu, shows up with bigger robots. Now, if only Dapu's grandfather was still alive,
we would be golden. Nobody would need to worry about it. What if Evil Emperor Exhaust is his grandfather?
I mean,
dude's huge.
He is massive.
Anyways, so we go from there to the BB Saloon, and speaking of Evil Emperor Exhaust, he says, "Listen, I've got 3 champions, one for sky, land, and sea. You're going to use them to defeat the Rangers. I've got a plan. Do exactly what I tell you. Everything will be fine." So there's like a lion and a bird and a shark, and they're gigantic already. The bird is called Sky Degune.
Yes. Now I will say, here's a bit of brief Sentai trivia. In Sun Vulcan, it was a 3-person team, and their like symbols and their robots and stuff were a lion, an eagle, and a shark.
Yeah.
So this is like a weird, like, I don't know if it's actually a tip of the hat to Sun Vulcan, but it should be.
So, Zanette, we pan to her again. She's looking down at the diary, and then she's like, "Ooh, actually," she sort of like pops up all of a sudden and says, "Ooh, I'll go. Like, I'll handle this." So she like hops in her car and she flies over, and there's like a slot in the robot's forehead for a car to land, which I think is a great control mechanism.
Because it doesn't go. I thought it was going to lower into the head and become a cockpit. It does not. She's just like riding on top of the head in her car.
No, it's like a Power Masters transformer. It just sort of like slots in there. So we
not
go
my
from
favorite
there,
Transformer weirdo thing. You know, my favorite weird Transformer thing was the Pretenders.
Dude, love the Pretenders. Never really understood like why they needed to exist, but I liked that they did.
Never made any sense, but I did like those robots.
So we go from there down to Dapu, and Dapu's sort of like walking around that same sort of Christmas area, and he's got his like very bad disguise on. And he basically is saying like, "Screw the Rangers, I'm gonna have my own Christmas fun. Like those guys are jerks. Like I'll do this myself."
He sees a bakery and he runs over. He's like, "Oh my gosh, a Christmas cake! This is what I'm gonna do." And then, of course, just to like rub the salt in the wound, a child runs over. It's like, "Oh my gosh, a Christmas cake!" And then that child's mother walks over. Is like, "Yes, my daughter, I love you because we are a family who are both alive, and we will enjoy this Christmas cake together." They don't say those exact words, but that's what they're telling you. I'm so glad that neither of us have been part of a planet exploding and that we can enjoy this holiday together as a family.
Right. So we go back from there. Kyosuke is in the base. He's looking for Dapu. He sees kind of out of the corner of his eye Dapu's booklet that he had made. He's about to go check it out, but before he can, the Bozoke alarm sounds.
Yes.
And they got to deal with that. So we go from Zanette. Zanette is on Sky Digane, and she's kind of getting instructions. And the first instruction is, hit that red button. So she hits the red button. And Sky Digane like flies around, and then like energy flyers. Not like bolts of energy, like literal energy flyers, like handbill flyers, sort of shoot out of his mouth and then solidify and land on the ground. And Dapu picks one up. What the flyer says is, "Hey, any surviving Hazardians meet on planet Earth in this particular spot. Like, this is our meetup zone."
Right, we're going to have like a survivors reunion party or something.
Right, obviously Dapu's totally stoked. We go back to Sky Digane, the big bird robot. It's a weird name. And VRV Robo is there, sorry. And he's like, "Hey, you big nerd, like, come down to Earth so we can fight."
So the big eagle robot, Sky, what, Digane or Jigane?
I think it's Digane, but it could be Jigane.
In my notes, I have it as Jigune, but who knows, man. The big eagle robot lands, and then they see that Zanette is attached to its head. And they're like, "Wait, Zanette, what are you doing here?" And as Kyosuke is like getting his wits together, the other four Rangers are like, "Oh, Kyosuke, well, go talk to her. Go talk to your girlfriend. Like, get out of here."
And he's like, oh man, I don't know if I want to. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you need to go do this. Like, just go talk to her." So he hops down. And
her car has separated from the eagle robot's head and is now just on the ground by itself. So he walks up to the car and he's like, Hey, Zanette.
Hey,
how are you doing? Are you having a nice day? The weather's good or whatever. And she's like, "Listen, you wanted to do these dumb diaries. I've brought it to you here. Like, take this and read it. Like, stop looking at me weird. Like, I'm here for us. Like, just take this and read this book."
Yeah. So he takes it, and then her car activates on its own. He tries to, like, stop. It doesn't work. The car sort of flies up. Zanette is super annoyed because her car, like, reattaches to the bird robot. And then it does, like, a its torso just sort of spins independently, and it makes like a big wind twister attack, and then it sort of like blasts lasers everywhere. Here's where we get, I think, the best part of this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Red gets back up into the cockpit of VRV robot, and of course this robot is freaking out and like blasting lasers. And all his teammates can say is like, dude, did you get into a fight with Zonnet again?
Right.
Like, is that why she's attacking us? And he says, no, this is not my fault. Like, we just talked about the diaries.
And no
like,
one believes him.
They're like, well, it definitely seems like she's real mad, dude. So, like, maybe you need to sort this out.
He's like, listen.
He's like, this is not my fault. This is not me.
Can we have this conversation later? We need to focus on the situation at hand. There are lasers involved. So he gets them to focus in. Zonnet, because the whole thing is spinning around. She's on the head. So she's getting, like... She gets, like, knocked out from the G-forces of spinning around so much. And now that she has passed out and, like, things are going the way that they are, we cut up to space, and Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust is like, okay, now it's time for Phase 2. Launch Marine Zaboom, who is the big shark robot. So Inventor Grotch attaches himself to the head in his, like, personal car, and it flies to Earth, and we don't immediately see where it goes. But we do cut to Dapu. Dapu is reading this flyer, and he's like, man, this newspaper, I've heard of this newspaper. It is known to have fake news.
Like,
straight up.
This is definitely...
That is what the subtitle says. Like, this newspaper is known to have fake news. I should not believe them.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke, and then it made me sad, so I decided not to. So, he's like, this is definitely fake, unless it's not.
Right.
And he's like, listen, he's
like
I'm like 99...
Yeah, 0.9% sure that it's fake. But if it's...
But, like, just in
but
case.
If it's true, this meetup place is, like, down the block from here. I may as well just walk past and see if there happens to be another Hazardian over there.
Yeah, so then we get like a dream sequence of him having like a delightful imaginary Christmas with his dad, who is back. And again, we are reminded that Dapu is a child that loves his father. He's like, I gotta go check it out. We go back from there to this robo fight, and the Rangers are a little bit lost. And as we mentioned before, they rely on Dapu kind of even more than they realize that they do, because they're calling for Dapu, be like, dude, what do we do about this robot? And of course, he's not there. And
because normally the answer is, well, you do Victory Twister and then it blows up, but they don't want to do that, of course, because they don't want to kill the beauties on that. So they're trying to figure out what to do. We cut back to Dapu. Dapu goes over to this pavilion where the meeting is. And he is, of course, incognito, which means he still looks like a weird alien, but he's put his hood up and he's wearing his sunglasses.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. So he shows up at the spot and he's just sort of like asking around like, oh, hey, have you seen a weird tall Yoda? And all the people that are standing there, like, don't answer him. And then they all sort of, like, walk toward him silently in a very ominous kind of way. And they're very obviously Bozo adjacent. Like, it's not really clear what they are. They sort of crowd him into a corner. And then they all teleport away. But Marine Zaboon pops up out of the water and cages him. Like, he's just got, like, like a shark cage, basically. And he just, like, slams it down on top of Dapu and captures Dapu.
Yes. It was a terrible trap. The giant shark had a shark cage, which, now that I'm thinking about it, is pretty good. We cut back. The next thing that we see is VRV Master, who is carrying a big bag of... It's a big paper grocery bag, but I think it's actually probably full of, like, pachinko prizes. Right? Because we've seen him do that before, and it's all the same thing falling out of the bag. It doesn't matter. We see VRV Master.
Yeah, I mean, he's got prizes.
And, like, there's a moment with him. We cut away. We see Sky, according to my notes, Jigune, throwing VRV Robo around. And VRV Robo is like losing power throughout the course of the fight. It's like using up its power reserves. And I think that it's the Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust is watching. Like, those power reserves are not getting replenished the way that they normally would.
So clearly, like, the fact that Dapu is not, like, there at his post, like, he needs to be there kind of all the time. This is a direct conduit that he needs to be, like, manning at all times. Sort of.
Now, previously, of course, when he was in a coma, we saw some times where he did not need to be there. But if you recall, in those moments, we had the VRV Master, who we now at least are almost certainly sure was Dapu's father. So he could probably be doing the car magic conduit work in Dapu's place.
Yeah.
But he's not here, of course, so things are going badly. But just as things seem to be going very badly, the monster flies away. Like, the big eagle robot flies back to the moon, and VRV Robo sort of set, like, it's on the ground. We cut to inside the cockpit, and, like, the camera is tilted to indicate that things have gone poorly for them, and they're all catching their breath. And in that moment, Minoru is already reading the love diary that Zanet has brought to Kyosuke.
Yeah, he's like, holy crap, you gotta see this. And Red, appropriately I feel, is like, dude, that is not for you to read. Like, that's not cool. And he's like, no. Everybody needs to read this. And we flip and we see the page. And what it is that Zanet has put in the diary what Exhaust is playing.
Right. It says, like, Exhaust is targeting car magic. So now I feel like we had talked about it at the beginning of this episode, but, like, this feels like a push towards the end game. Like, Exhaust is, like, the Reckless Dash Emperor Exhaust is targeting their power source. The Beauty Zanet has, like, fully flipped and is now helping them, but isn't telling anybody that she's flipped. Dapu has been kidnapped. Dapu's almost certainly, this is the case, father is coming back into the picture. Like, this is how you go into the last few episodes. And you know what the thing that drives me crazy is, Dave? There's going to be at least 2 filler episodes between now and the end. I know there's going to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're going to be fun episodes, but the whole time we're going to be like, why have you not reconnected Dapu with his father? What's going on with Zanet? When is her little sister going to come back? But no, I'm sure we're just going to have a Monster of the Week, and it's going to be nice. But speaking of episodes, Dave, that is the end of this episode. And normally, of course, this is when I would say it's not the end of our episode, because we need to determine where something lands on the Creature Royale. But unless we want to re-rank the cockroach, we don't actually have a monster that got defeated this episode. Do you want to re-rank the cockroach?
No, dude, he's in here for, like, it's maybe a minute and a half. I do not think.
I mean, okay, that is true, but total, he has had more screen time than almost any of the other monsters. Maybe we can revisit him in the last episode, as we're doing, like, our full season wrap-up. See if he moves up a slot or two.
Maybe if we see him another time, I might be willing to revisit it. But as of right now,
we're going to leave him where he is. And that, of course, means, Dave, that this is going to do it for another episode of License to Carranger. Before we finish up here, I'd like to remind you all that you can email the show at supersentaibrothers@gmail.com. If you want to get any updates on future episodes or check out what we're talking about on Twitter, we're on there at Super Sentai Bros. Dave, if the good people would like to get a hold of you to get in on the playtest for Ghost Sentai Heroes, the tabletop role-playing game you are developing, how would they do that?
You just email me at gosentaiheroes@gmail.com, and I will get the rules as they stand out to you and put you on the list for any future updates.
Right on. Folks, remember, if you like the show, shining in the iTunes review section, there are 5 stars. Rate, review, subscribe on there. That's what's going to point new people towards the show, as I have been told, these many years ago. If you'd like to listen to any other great Retrograde Orbit Radio shows, those can all be found at retrogradeorbitradio.com. Once again, we are the Super Sentai Brothers. I'm Matt.
I'm Dave.
And we'll see you next week for the greatest show on Earth.